Welcome back, 4th grade. Today we're going to be working on lesson 10-11, ordering fractions and mixed numbers. I'm going to do a couple of examples for you in workbook 157, but it's 158 that you will be doing at home. So on page 157, it says to write in order from least to greatest, and I have three fractions, 3/12, 3/4, and 7/12. The first way I can do it is to use fraction strips. So I can get out 3/12 and 3/4 and 7/12. I see that 3/12 and 7/12 both have the same denominator, so I know that 3/12 is less than 7/12. But it's 3/4 I'm not sure about, so that's what I need to check. So I can see that 3/4 is larger than both 3/12 and 7/12. So to write these in order, from smallest to largest, it would be 3/12 and then 7/12 and then 3/4. I can also compare them without using my fraction strips. I can make it so they all have the same denominator. I see that 3/12 and 7/12 both already have 12 as a denominator, but I can change 3/4 to 12 also by multiplying to find an equivalent fraction. So I have 3/4 equals how many 12ths? Well, 4 times 3 equals 12, so 3 times 3 equals 9. So 3/4 is the same as 9/12. They are equivalent. So 9/12 is greater than both 7/12 and 3/12. And let's look at number 5. Number 5 has mixed numbers that I have to compare. I have 3 and 9/10, 4 and 1/2, and 4 and 2/5. And I have to order them from least to greatest. Well, I can already tell that 3 and 9/10 is the smallest because it has a smaller whole number than 4 1/2 and 4 and 2/5. So 3 and 9/10 is my smallest number here. So now I have to decide which is smaller, 1/5, 2/5, or 1/2. So I have 2/5 right here, and I have half right here. And I can see that 2/5 is less than 1/2. So it would be 4 and 2/5 next, and then 4 1/2. I could also look at 1/2 and 2/5 and see if I can make some equivalent fractions. So I know that 1/2 equals 5/10, and 2/5 equals 4/10. So 4/10 is smaller than 5/10, which is why 2/5 is smaller than 1/2. Now let's look at some examples on the next page that you're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a few of the problems with you on page 158. The top part just has you ordering the fractions like we just did. 1 through 4 is least to greatest. 5 and 6 are greatest to least, the largest one first. You can use your fraction strips for all of these. But let's look at number 7, the word problem. It says Grant writes 2/3 is less than 3/5 is less than 4/6. He says this is correct because the numerator and denominator of 3/5 are between the numerators and denominators of 2/3 and 4/6. Is Grant correct? Explain. Well, let's find out. I'm going to use fraction strips to find that out. So first let's write down what Grant says. He says that 2/3 is less than 3/5, which is less than 4/6. Let's check and see if Grant is correct. Okay, here's my 2/3 right here. Okay, and here's my 3/5. Well, already I can see a mistake because I see that 3/5 is less than 2/3. And then I put 4/6 on here. And here I see that 4/6 is equivalent to 2/3. So no, Grant is not correct. So he is not correct because 3/5 is less than both other fractions. Because 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. So 3/5 is the smallest one, not 2/3, which is what he said. And then let's look at number 8. Number 8 asks you, how can you order 3 mixed numbers if each one has a different denominator, such as 3 2/5, 3 1/2, and 3 3/8? Well, we're going to use fraction strips for that also. Okay, so we have 3 2/5, and we have 3 1/2, and 3 3/8. Well, I see they all have 3, so I just need to compare my fractions. So here's 2/5, here's 1/2, and here's 3/8. So I can see by using my fraction strips that 3/8 is the smallest. So 3 3/8 would be the fraction that is the least. 3 3/8 is less than, my next one is 2/5. 3 2/5, which is less than 3 1/2.